Din bin Islam Afnan says, please bro, I have a question. Can a girl learn higher study? What does Islam say? Okay. Can a girl, is it good for girls to study higher education, right? Or to study generally? So there are two main aspects to this question. The first part of this question is, should women or girls, should they study, right? Should they study? And without a doubt, when we look at the seerah of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, we find that one of the greatest scholars after he died sallallahu alaihi wasallam was none other than his wife Aisha radiyallahu ta'ala anha. Aisha was a scholar and she used to give fatwa. Not only that, she used to correct the male ulama, right? The other sahaba, the male sahaba, the ulama among them, she would sometimes correct them. Now, we're not talking about whether she's right or wrong in these matters, but the point is that she, being a female, being a woman, she would correct some of the other senior or some of the other sahaba, right? And nobody said, hey Aisha, you're a woman, you're not allowed to seek knowledge, or you're not allowed to give fatwa or anything like that. Not at all. Not at all. So when people say that women should not study, should not learn Islam and things like this, this is, or generally study, this is false. Okay, this is false and this is not something from our religion. However, when the ulama of Islam, they talk about allowing a woman to study, which is something perfectly fine, there's nothing wrong with it, as we've seen. It is important that there are certain guidelines that are met, and this applies to both men and women as well, right? It applies to both men and women, and this is important, both men and women. And that is that the guidelines that we need to adhere to is that we shouldn't be in places where there is fasad and evil. If there is, in certain places there may well be a lot of fasad or evil or immorality and things like this, munkar, whatever, then obviously we need to stay away from those types of places. Likewise, there should not be, flirting and inappropriate talk and mixing between the genders, between non-mahrams, right? Between each other. There shouldn't be inappropriate communication, informal flirting or anything of that nature. This should not be the case. Likewise, both men and women are obliged to cover their awrah, right? The awrah for a man is different from an awrah of a woman, but regardless, both men and women must cover their awrah, right, when they are studying. So if all of these guidelines and generally the prohibitions of Islam are not, if all the guidelines are met and the prohibitions of Islam are not, you don't fall into them, then there's nothing wrong with studying higher study or even lower study or anything like that. However, of course, we must also bear in mind, what do our parents say, and things like this. That is also important to bear in mind, because of course it is important for us to take that into consideration when we make such decisions, inshaAllah ta'ala.